Hey Travis, we're live.
You right, Dan? You right, Dan? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 39th Mitchell Billiards Senior Australian 8-Ball Championships for 2024. I would now first like to welcome and announce all the participating teams. Please welcome, firstly, Team Northern Territory. Under 23s, Captain Trey Chan, Joseph Evans, John Knott. Women's over 50s, Manager Jim Crosby, Judy Karanis Captain, Annette Lindsay Vice Captain, Trudy Lindley Co-Vice Captain. Over 60s, Manager Guy Hodgetts, Captain Robbie Savage, John Anderson, Ricky Perkins, Carl Borsey. Masters, Manager Guy Hodgetts, Captain Peter Barnes, Vice Captain Damien Haar, Choco Khan, Mick Karras, Richard Baker, Raymond Harris, Veng Rogers. NT Women's, Manager Jim Crosby, Captain Sharon Presley, Vice Captain Melanie Sanders, Sabon Nyland, Anna Christina Cemento, Kim Vernon, Kate Bonning Crosby. The Open Division, Manager John Hilton, Captain Matty D, Vice Captain Chris Beagley, Chris Davis, Brad Abdillah, Scott Coburn, Jimmy Searcy, Tim Alensowitz, William Cossack, Trey Chan. Team Northern Territory. In Tasmania, under 23s, Captain Joe Watkins, Vice Captain Jacob Dunn, Malcolm Gale. Women's over 50s, Captain Kathy Costello, Vice Captain Elizabeth Wells, Sharon Young, Karen Gleeson. Over 60s, Manager Rhonda Whitmore. Captain Jeff Stonehouse, Vice Captain Terry Adams, Phil Toohey, Barry Yude. Masters Division, Manager Les Alley, Captain Neil Kelly, Vice Captain Jeremy Maguire, Peter Donati, Bruce Lockley, Eric Matthews, Richie Seath. Women's, Manager Mickey McPherson, Captain Fiona Plummer, Vice Captain Kylie Bellinger, Lisa Fulton, Christine Bergman, Jessica Hughes, Tanya Clooney, Catherine Green. Open Team, Manager Chris Cherry, Captain Cale Barrett, Vice Captain Blair Kirkcaldy, Joe Watkins, Jacob Marshall, Bradley Beveridge, Corey Manson, Jacob Dunn, Jordan Percy. Team Tasmania. Team Queensland, under 23s, Captain Joe McClintock, Alex Haynes, Seb Latonen. Women's over 50s, Captain Sandy Wright, Belinda Marshall, Anne Pike. Over 60s, Captain Peter Smith, John Riley, Pat Broderick. Masters, Manager Bruce Wallace, Captain Darren Mahoney, Vice Captain Robbie Lewis, Peter Spencer, Cameron Dixon, Dean Jeremiah, Scott Hunter. Women's, Captain Cindy Blackmore, Vice Captain Cass Ditchfield, Bonnie Campbell, Zava Williamson, Lee Goodzu, Kylie Sue. Open Division, Manager Sean Field, Captain Andy Barnett, Vice Captain Brendan Cantor, Dane Beaton, Craig Stevens, David Linton, Sam Taylor, Macwin Fernandez and Aaron James. Team Queensland. Team ACT, under 23s, Captain Will Garvin, Kieran McKenna, Chris Brett. Over 50s women, Captain Pat Wadsworth, Christine Allen, Jocelyn Genders. Over 60s, Captain Jack Dem, Vice Captain Ron Farmer, Jeff Core, Ian Will. Masters, Captain Jared Johnson, Vice Captain Fabio D'Ambrosio, Ralph Arantz, Steve Zavaris, Stefan Guja, Richard Sturgis, Max Ryan. Women's, Captain Anne Moymoy, Vice Captain Nicole Welsh, Kylie Power, Ashley Smith, Vanessa Nelson, Michelle Massey, Penny Fadoulis. Open, Captain Joseph Rennie. Vice Captain Chris Lilly. Chris Brett, Jonathan Watkins, Jonathan Wilkins, Charles Hong, Sam Cullen, Mick Gervin, Brendan D'Aquino, Phil Bush. Team ACT. Team New South Wales, under 23s, Captain Emily Stevens, Jaden Hoffman, Max James, Jack Crawley. Women's over 50s, Captain Sharon Jennings, Karen Howe, Christine Steer. Over 60s, Captain Frank Van Oppenen, Warwick Howe, Craig Robbo Robinson. Masters, Captain Mike Wood, Vice Captain Jason Atkins, Brian Green, Doug Morakovsky, Steve Hale, Grant Weekly, Stuart Kingsbury. Women's Division, Manager Cheryl Congram, Captain Kate Harrison, Melissa Crawley, Kenny Terza, Emma Dybell, Elise Harris, Emily Stevens, Deanne Bolton. Open, Manager Vanessa Reid, Captain Travis Crawley, Vice Captain Brent Reid. Mickey Lennon, Peter O'Keefe, Jay Windross, Jack Crawley, Jordan Boyd, Matt Pisano, Jamie Staines. Team New South Wales. Team South Australia, under 23s, Captain Danielle Porter, Trent Bowes, Tyrese Gray. Women's over 50s, Captain Marie O'Keefe, Vice Captain Sue Campbell, Sue Coulthard, Mandy Pearsall. Over 60s, Captain George Philippou, Matt Kilk, Peter Holden. Masters, Captain Stacey Vine, Darren Munchenberg, Michael Swift, John Barton, John Lehman, Paul Hancock. Women's Manager Joe Starrick, Captain Lyndall Vine, Vice Captain Sue Kendall, Carol Nunn, Kerry Gorham, Carol Harrison, Ashley McClellan, Cassie Starrick. Open, Captain Jaden D'Amica, Vice Captain Stacey Vine, Alex Evernardis, Jack Hunter, Brenton Collier, Jeff Gloyes, Michael Hayes, Shane Cripps, Eric Westerholm, Daniel Pojorski. Team South Australia. Team Victoria, under 23s, Captain Sean Dempsey, Jack Green, Toby Clack. Women's over 50s, Nolene Beach, Kelly Barron, Michelle Hanson, Mark Gorski. Over 60s, Captain John Russell, Vice Captain Don Colbert, Mike Bellum. In the Masters, Manager Steve Chauvin, Captain Mark Kerwood, Vice Captain Tony Massey, Jason Stewart, Steve McCormick, Kevin Malik, Dion Moyer, Darren Waite. Women's Manager Jen Blood, Captain Lyndall Ellerman, Vice Captain Colby Poole, Karen Winter, Katrina Shannon, Joey Tommy, Tanya Armit, Bobby Joe Quinn. Open, Manager Scott Easton, Captain Rob Bowen, Vice Captain Scott Parker, Jack Phillips, Paul Clack, Josh Gorski, Reece Godden, Steve Jamison, Sean Dempsey, Jack Green. Team Victoria. And finally, the hosts, Team Western Australia, under 23s, Captain Alex Kingsbury, Daniel King, Lockie Smith, Christian Manalovic. Women's over 50s, Captain Sue Buzanich, Vice Captain Tanya Brown, Ros Johnson, Rebecca Smith. Over 60s, Captain Keith Carter, Shan Baker, Steve Montford, Elvie Wanray Hilton Belmont, Brent Steer. Masters Manager Kieran McCrory, Captain Sonny Lister, Vice Captain Tony Voyevich, Dennis Hines, Paul Kane, Alan Brown, Darren Morris, Adrian Lancaster. Women's Manager Callum Mackay, Captain Rebecca O'Mara, Vice Captain Adele Lancaster, Claire Marsh, Francine Jackson, Julianne Redding, Kaya Pedrick, Bowie Chung. Open Manager Wayne Gilmore, Captain, Rocky Hammond. Vice Captain, Luke Foster, Ben Foster, Ron Kelly, Nathan McMahon, Stone Stenhouse, Ben Judge, Steve Saxon, Luke Anglesey. Team, Western Australia. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 39th Mitchell Billiards Senior Australian A-Ball Championships for 2024. It's a fantastic sight to see all the colours once again. And I'd like to say welcome to all in the room, welcome to the guests and the spectators. I would now like to hand over to the WA President, Mr. Terry Green, for the acknowledgement of country. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Is that on? Thank you, Travis. What a great sight this is. I begin today by acknowledging the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which we gathered today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people here today. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the Australian A-Ball Federation Life members in the room, Mr. Terry Green, Mr. Ken Koenig, and Ms. Cheryl Congram, AEBF Life members. Special guest this morning, the Mayor of Gonzales, Miss Teresa Lyons. Thank you, Teresa. There was also another few special guests. Sorry, beg your pardon. World champion Stacey Vine is in the room. Over 60 singles world champion, Mr. Stacey Vine. I'd like to also acknowledge the over 60s world champion teams, Stacey Vine, Peter Kennedy and Anthony Mashi, world champions. Tony is in the room. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the over 50s world champions, Justin Allen, Mark Bradley, Darren Waite, Alan Brown, Adrian Lancaster, Mark Kerwood, over 50s world champions. Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone to Perth, Western Australia, at the Western Australian 8-Ball headquarters for the 8-Ball Championships. We've just had a week of Australia Cup Championships, which was fantastic. 16 teams from all around Australia battling it out for another amazing event, which has led into our nationals. I won't speak for too long this morning. We've got a lot to get through, and once again, I'd like to say everyone does look fantastic. We normally go away to national championships. We go to states and territories, welcome to us to their city or their state. This year, I'd like to thank Western Australia for welcoming us into their home. We're looking around this room, their history, it's simply amazing, and it really does make every one of us feel we're certainly in the right place. And tip my cap to Western Australian 8-Ball and its members for making this place so fantastic and welcoming. Thank you, WA. I'd like to acknowledge my AEBF Executive and Subcommittee, Vice President Brendan Cantor, Secretary Mark McAleer, Treasurer Melissa Crawley, Administrator Stephanie Crawford, Rules and Umpires Director Jay Windross, Coaching Director Greg Dingle, Junior Development Officer Kelvin Lee. I'd now like to take a moment for in memoriam for the members of our community that have left us in the last 12 months. Let us pay our respects with a minute's silence, please. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would now like to invite President of Western Australian 8-Ball, Mr. Terry Green, for host president speech. Thank you.
Thank you again, Travis. WA have been waiting 11 years for the opportunity to once again host the Australian Championships. And when South Australia found it difficult to find a suitable venue for the 2024 events, they offered to swap with us, and as we had a venue that we could host them. We jumped at the chance, of course, and we now see all the hard work come to fruition. The board of the WA 8-Ball Federation welcomes to Perth all of the players competing in this year's Australian Championships, and trust you will enjoy these championships and accept the hospitality we offer you from our members and officials alike over the next 10 days of the tournament. We trust good sportsmanship prevails during the events, and you enjoy the venue we have provided for you all. We'd also give special thanks to photographers Gary and Kay Bradshaw and streamer Dan Lynch for journeying here to assist in the promotion and coverage of the championships. They've done a great job so far. We acknowledge the tremendous support our State Department of Sport has provided over many years, and none more than this year in contributing the sum of $50,000 towards the success of these championships, and you will soon meet one of those responsible for that support in Diane Meekins. All in all, we believe we have provided the best facility possible in Perth at the moment for a great championship, and we expect you will all appreciate the challenge ahead of you, and most of all, enjoy it. Thank you.
On that note, we would like to invite Diane Meekins, Life Member for Western Australia, to say a few words. Diane?
Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to apologise for the Minister. The Minister for Sport and Recreation in WA, the Honourable David Templeman, is in Parliament today. We tried valiantly to get him here for this, but we weren't able to, but he is coming next week. So some of you will get to meet him next week. But over the last 11 years, the state government have put in over $3 million into 8-Ball in WA, and you can see that here, and we are the only state government funded facility in Australia for pool or 8-Ball or snooker or anything else. So it's a really tremendous accolade for the state government in what you see here, and as a past president and a life member, it's wonderful to see what we have here. But I wanted to comment on the amazing journey it's been. 40 years ago, we had a team of we had 12 players, 3 officials, and I think 3 supporters that went to Adelaide for the very first national championships at the Enfield Hotel in South Australia in 1984. There's a handful of people in this room that were at that championships, and to see where it's come in 40 years, we missed one because of COVID, but for this being the 39th, but 40 years later, it's amazing how far we came. There was 7 teams, I think, in South Australia of 12 players, of men, just men. No women, no juniors, nothing else. So it's amazing to the AEBF and people like Joe Fanto, Terry Green, Travis and Mel Crawley, over the years, what they've turned this into. So congratulations to everyone, and I hope you have a great tournament. Thank you.
Over the next 8 or 9 days, you'll hear WA people boasting about this place, just like Diane did, and you may get sick of it, but they're the envy. They are absolutely fantastic, produced a fantastic venue, and they deserve all the accolades and pats on the back they can get, because what they've turned out here for us this week is simply amazing. So I'm certainly going to look forward to being here and playing in this event. I'd now like to... Okay. For those that are upstanding, stay upstanding. For those that are not, please be upstanding if you can for the playing of the national anthem, please. I would now like to invite the head adjudicator, Mr. Jay Windross, to read the block warning. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, before we get into the block warning, I'd just like to acknowledge WA's head referee, Mr. Lance Ryan, and the other referees who are currently in attendance today, Trav Crawley, Lance Ryan again, and also John Broke-Mullen. So thank you guys for being here. AEBF block warning is available on our website, so if any time you need to follow through or check in on the block warning, it will be on the website. No coaching of a player is permitted during a frame. No food or drink is allowed over the table. Should a dispute arise during a frame, the player must ask for the head adjudicator before the next shot is played. Team managers, other squad members and spectators are not permitted to enter the playing area unless requested to do so by the head adjudicator. Players must retire to a neutral position upon finishing their visit to the table. Timeouts will only be granted at the umpire's good judgment. No photographs are to be taken with any flash attachments whilst any play is in progress. Just want to let yourself out. Offenders will have their cameras impounded until the conclusion of the national championships. Did you fall over then? Okay. Mobile phones must be turned on vibrate or off, not obviously on silent, whilst in the playing venue. Players must not take mobile phones into the playing area unless they're being used as timers. Devices used as timers must be turned to flight mode. Players and or spectators found breaching this restriction will be asked to leave the playing venue. Thank you.
Okay, short and sweet. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone and welcome everyone to Western Australia for the National Championships. We now move on to the traditional breaking of the balls. Now I'd like to invite Diane Meekins, who will... Sorry. Just a reminder about the photos. They will be done in reverse marching order. So at the conclusion of the breaking of the balls, reverse march in order to get the photos done. WA first. So, yeah. Now we want to put as much pressure on Diane as possible. So the breaking of the balls will be around table 5. In addition to Diane, in addition to the breaking of the balls, Diane will be using Jack Halligan cue. I now declare the 2024 Mitchell Billiards Senior Australian 8-Ball Championships open. Good luck, everybody.